Okay, Sagittarius, gather around. December 29th isn't just another day, it's your definitive turning point. After what might have felt like a long journey through periods of constrained freedom, philosophical searching, and moments where your boundless optimism felt surprisingly tethered, the cosmic treasury is ready to release your overdue inheritance. And no, this isn't simply wishful thinking. This is energetic accounting. If something deep inside you has felt restless, like you've been held back from truly soaring, no matter how much wisdom you sought or how generously you gave, you're not imagining it. You've been pulled back like an arrow on a bowstring, stretched to your absolute limit. I know that feeling. This isn't the kind of weariness a long weekend fixes. This is soul-deep depletion that comes from constantly seeking, inspiring, learning, and yet often feeling like your expansive spirit had nowhere to land. But here's what matters now: you never lost sight of the horizon. You kept believing in the grand adventure, even when the path was unclear. And that's exactly why you've made it here. Not to a channel, not to a video, but to a pivotal moment in your spiritual timeline when everything begins to shift. You are not here by accident. I believe the universe brings us what we're ready to receive right when we're finally prepared to truly embody it. If you're watching this now, that means something inside you, even if it's buried under fleeting doubts or an old weariness, knows it's finally time to receive what's rightfully yours. December 29th isn't just a date on a calendar. It's the culmination of a cycle that has tested your finances, your spirit of adventure, and your very sense of freedom. Now, the old restraints are breaking, the gates to new horizons are opening. Jupiter, your benevolent ruling planet, is aligning in a profoundly expansive way it hasn't in years. On that very day, Venus, the planet of wealth, value, and financial blessing, aligns with Jupiter, amplifying your inherent luck and drawing opportunities toward you like a magnet. This isn't symbolic. This is a once-in-a-generation energetic surge designed to redirect the flow of wisdom, abundance, and restoration straight to you. Before you brush it off or doubt it, take a breath. You've already seen the signs: the 3 a.m. wake-ups with a sudden burst of clarity, the ringing in your ears, the glitching tech, seeing 808s, 700 CB7s, 11 on receipts, clocks, even license plates. These aren't glitches, they're activations. Your nervous system is adjusting to a new frequency of boundless potential. That restless energy, that sense of impending change, that's spiritual electricity. Sagittarius, the periods where your idealism was tested, your freedom felt confined, or your grand plans hit snags. These weren't limitations, they were refinements, were every moment of constraint. Every time your trust was misplaced, every financial setback, all of it stretched your spiritual rubber band so far back. And now, destiny is ready to release it. Not gently, not gradually, but in a way that feels like pure liftoff. You might feel a flicker of fear. That's normal. A familiar path, even if it felt restrictive, can become a comfort zone after enough time. But please hear this: the blessings coming to you now require only one thing: your willingness to receive them fully, without guilt, without apology, as someone who is finally ready to reclaim the expansive life that has always been your birthright. If you've been feeling this energy shift lately, in your body, your sleep, your mind, comment below and write, "I'm ready to receive my expansive inheritance." That's not just a comment, that's a contract, a signal, a sacred yes. And before we go further, let me take a moment to say thank you. Your presence here, your support, your time, every like, every share, Every word you leave in the comments helps grow this community of light seekers. You're not just watching. You're part of something real, something sacred. So stay with me, because what the universe is about to reveal in the next few minutes might just rewrite everything you thought you knew about money, timing, and divine justice. Let's go deeper. You're ready. Sagittarius. You've walked a path most wouldn't survive, not because you were weaker, but because you were chosen to carry a pioneering spirit, to seek truth, and to inspire. And now that we've acknowledged the magnitude of what's coming for you on December 29th, it's time to honor what brought you here. Because no reward is ever delivered without understanding the cost. You didn't just live through years, you transcended them. There were days when you gave more of your spirit than you had, and nights when your prayers for direction hit the ceiling and echoed back in silence. You watched opportunities for grand adventures seem to collapse at the final moment. You trusted people who took what they needed and left you feeling disillusioned. You were passed over, overlooked, underestimated, and misunderstood. Not once, but repeatedly, until the very idea of boundless hope itself felt like a vulnerability. And yet, somehow, you stayed. Even with your optimistic heart feeling threadbare and your energy paper-thin, you stayed in the game. You got up. Even when there was no applause. You kept going when no one acknowledged your efforts. You chose truth and idealism, even when all you got back was cynicism. That right there is what separates a seeker from a soul prepared for grander things. You weren't being punished, you were being forged. What happened wasn't fair. Let's not sugarcoat it. You might have been robbed of time, freedom, or stability. But Sagittarius isn't just a sign of survival. It is the sign of boundless expansion and higher truth. You were never meant to come out of this as the same person who went in. You were built to explore the edges of your beliefs, to question the status quo, and to rise again. Not as who you were, but as something new, something eternally seeking, eternally free. The symbol of Sagittarius is not just the archer. It is the quest itself, and you have been on a profound one for over a decade. It's time now to launch. Every financial setback, every emotional disillusionment, every lonely night you spent staring at the ceiling asking, "Why me?" It wasn't a failure. It was refinement. You are being prepared to hold wealth, influence, and wisdom without becoming arrogant, careless, or losing your adventurous spirit. You are being emptied. Yes, but only to be filled again with something greater than before. See, there's a verse that's followed me through some of my darkest nights. Psalm 23, verse 5. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. It doesn't say, God gives you a little help when life is kind. It says that when you are surrounded, exhausted, betrayed, even humiliated, that is when he lays out the feast, right in front of the ones who said you'd never make it. Not to shame them, but to honor you. Because he didn't forget. The silence wasn't absence. It was sacred preparation. You didn't need to prove your worth to the world. You were proving to yourself that even at your lowest, you could still be a source of light and truth. That's why you're still here. That's why your blessings have taken this long to arrive. They couldn't come until your spirit was strong enough to carry them. And now you're ready. Those years didn't break you. They built you. So don't reject what's coming out of guilt or disbelief. It's not charity, it's not a fluke. It's a spiritual reimbursement. Back pay for a decade of pioneering battles fought in silence. And when the bank alert shows up, whether as a literal transfer or a flood of opportunities, I want you to look up and whisper, I remember. I didn't give up. Thank you for not forgetting me. Because, in truth, you were never being punished. You were being chosen. There's a moment in every spiritual journey when you stop asking, "Why me?" and begin asking, "Why now?" And if you're Sagittarius, December 29th is your answer. The universe doesn't operate on emotion. It moves in cycles, in patterns, in the perfect timing of planetary choreography. You, dear Sagittarius, have been navigating a period where your natural expansive spirit felt tethered, perhaps by heavy responsibilities, stagnant routines, or a lack of clear direction. And yet, even under pressure, you endured. Now, as Jupiter, your ruling planet, enters a new phase of opportunity, the weight begins to lift, but not gently. It releases like a slingshot. And that's exactly what this moment is, an energetic slingshot. The resistance you felt wasn't a curse. It was compression, pressure, spiritual tension stored over many years. And now, just as the number 13 represents in sacred numerology, release, rebirth, and resurrection, you stand at the edge of a new beginning. On December 29th, Venus, planet of value, wealth, and self-worth, forms a magnificent trine with Jupiter, your ruling planet. This alignment doesn't whisper. It sings with opportunity. It's not subtle. It's expansive. Venus and Jupiter together signal a sudden, joyously transformational shift in your material world. This is what astrologers quietly call the fortunate aspect. Not because it hands out money like magic, but because it activates the kind of inner magnetism and external opportunities that attract abundance fast. When these two planets meet, the universe doesn't ask for your credentials. It asks for your readiness to expand. You might not realize it yet, but this isn't about money alone. This is about everything you sacrificed finally returning with interest. Every late night spent working for someone else's dream. Every maybe next time you told yourself when you passed on an adventure you couldn't afford. Every idea you gave away for free. All of it was planted like a seed. And this Venus-Jupiter alignment is the harvest. The tarot confirms what the stars are already screaming: the Tower, the Star, the Ace of Pentacles. First comes the rupture, the unexpected event, the message, the shift that feels like chaos. That's the Tower, a breakdown that clears the space. Then comes the Star, the cosmic reassurance, the healing you didn't even know you needed, rekindling your hope. And finally, the Ace of Pentacles, the golden gate opening to real, tangible financial support. Not fantasy, not just hope, but substance. If you felt on edge lately, if your sleep has been strange, or your thoughts more urgent, you're not broken. You're recalibrating. Your nervous system is picking up signals before your mind can translate them. You're not anxious. You're being tuned. This window is rare. Not everyone gets it. This isn't a collective upgrade. This is personal. This is for Sagittarius. Because no other sign embodies the spirit of exploration and boundless potential quite like you. No other sign knows what it means to keep seeking truth and light, even when the path is dim, and come back radiant with wisdom. And if you still doubt it, remember this: you were the arrow pulled back farther than you thought possible. But the hand of destiny didn't forget you. It simply waited until the exact second when your trajectory could no longer be denied. And now, it lets go. You're not going to rise, you're going to launch. This isn't just a turnaround, it's an eruption, a karmic payout with your name written on it. So let yourself receive it, without guilt, without apology, without delay, because this moment wasn't made for the version of you that suffered, it was made for the version of you that transcended. when energy begins to shift in a profound way. The first place it shows up is not always in your bank account, but in your body, your environment, and your everyday patterns. This is not coincidence. This is alignment. You might not be seeing dollar signs just yet, but your spiritual wiring, your energetic circuitry, has already started to respond to the change. The download is in progress, and if you pay close attention, you'll notice it. Sagittarius. You've always been one of the most energetically sensitive signs. Your depth doesn't just allow you to feel emotion, it allows you to feel frequency, which is why, as this cosmic treasure draws near, your physical and digital world may begin to show signs before your logical mind catches up. You're not imagining it. You're not broken. You're attuning. One of the first signs that you're activating your financial receiving channel is what I call energetic resonance. It can feel like a low hum in the body, a tingling in the hands, or a sudden pulse of warmth in the palms or soles of your feet, the gateways of exchange. Some of you will hear a high-pitched ringing in one ear, often the left. This is not medical. This is metaphysical. Your frequency is rising to match the vibration of the abundance coming toward you. And if you've been waking up suddenly around 3 or 4 a.m., not with panic, but with a strange clarity or stillness, know this: it's not insomnia. It's recalibration. The veil is thinnest in these hours. Your system is adjusting to a higher bandwidth. Then there are the technical glitches. Yes, the phone freezing, the banking app suddenly crashing, notifications that disappear, or a smartwatch that stops at the exact time you think about money. These are not bugs in the system. These are ripples of electromagnetic interference caused by the sheer density of the energy you're beginning to carry. As your energetic field expands, electronic devices around you can short-circuit momentarily. It's not malfunction, it's magnetism. And then there are the signs that seem, on the surface, utterly inconvenient: a canceled appointment, a broken glass, a missing item, a day that feels off-center for no clear reason. What you might perceive as chaos is actually cleansing. When something small falls away, a missed call, a forgotten meeting, a sudden delay, it's often the universe clearing the path. It's spiritual housekeeping. Well, think of it like a room being emptied before new, expansive furniture arrives. The discomfort is temporary. The upgrade is lasting. You may also begin seeing sequences, numbers that repeat themselves like a cosmic wink. 888, 777, 1111, 909. If these have been appearing around you lately, they are not just aesthetic, they are activations. 888 is a direct message from the field of infinite supply. It means the abundance you've been praying for, working toward, or quietly wishing for is finally en route. Write it down, say it aloud, acknowledge it when it arrives, because the more you engage, the more you anchor the current. If you're watching this and realizing, yes, I've been feeling that, I invite you to pause, breathe, and say, I accept this alignment. And then share with us in the comments, what number have you been seeing? Have you noticed that ringing in your ears or a disruption in your tech? Because when we speak these things aloud, when we put them into collective awareness, we amplify them. Energy multiplies through connection. And Sagittarius, you are not here to receive alone. There's a quiet elegance in recognizing signs before the breakthrough arrives. It shows spiritual maturity. And if you're noticing these 3 types of signals, energetic, digital, and symbolic, it's because the universe is already knocking, not softly, but clearly. So don't ignore the knock, respond, claim it, anchor it. And if you've seen 888 recently, write it below. It's not random, It's the signal that money is not just coming, it's already near. When energy reaches a tipping point, when signals begin to surge from every direction, your body, your thoughts, your environment, the next natural step is to respond, not with more waiting, not with hesitation, but with conscious action, because intention without embodiment remains potential. And what we want now, Sagittarius, is not more potential, but manifestation. This is where sacred ritual becomes your bridge, not in the religious sense, but in the energetic sense. A ritual, at its core, is a conversation with the unseen, an act of clarity that tells the universe, I am ready. I see what's coming, and I'm no longer running from it. I'm making space for it to arrive. And that's exactly what this cosmic treasure activation ritual is, a declaration that you're no longer defined by your past constraints, but by your readiness to receive in full alignment. To begin, you will need 3 simple things. First, find a symbol of your financial past, or a limiting belief that once kept your adventurous spirit small. It could be an old, unused planner that held too many deferred dreams, a receipt from a time you felt you missed out, or even a piece of paper where you once wrote down a fear about your future. This isn't about bringing back the pain, it's about honoring the journey you've taken to become who you are now. This item is not trash, it's testimony. Second, you'll need a red pen or marker. Why red? Because red is the color of Mars, the planet of action, momentum, and breakthrough. Red symbolizes life force. It tells your subconscious, I am no longer waiting to be chosen, I am choosing. Third, you'll need access to the earth. It can be a garden, a tree, or even a potted plant inside your home. The earth, in elemental terms, is the realm of materialization. It transforms everything, even waste, into renewal. It does not reject, it receives, composts, and births something new. Now, here's how the ritual unfolds. Start by writing on the paper the specific limiting belief, fear, or past constraint you feel has held back your expansion over the past years. Don't be afraid to be honest. Write it down. Own it. This is your karmic release. Then, take the red marker and draw a bold X across the paper. You are not crossing it out. You are sealing it shut. It's a sacred strike-through that says, this old script is no longer open. This limiting cycle is now closed. Next, go to your chosen patch of earth. Gently bury the paper beneath it. As you press the soil over it, speak these words out loud with strength and sincerity. I am the boundless explorer of life's infinite possibilities. I release all past constraints and step into my rightful inheritance of wisdom, freedom, and abundant expansion. My journey is blessed. My path is clear. And then, you walk away. You don't dig it up. You don't talk about it like a performance. You don't ask if it worked. You act like it already has. For 3 days after this ritual, your only assignment is to live as if the transfer has already happened, not recklessly, but confidently. Make one small, expansive purchase with faith. Begin planning a trip you've dreamed of. Speak your truth with conviction in a conversation. Respond to every challenge with the inner knowing. I am no longer the version of myself who lacks or is confined. You are not casting a spell. You are signing a contract with the field of divine reciprocity. You are stepping into your rightful seat at the table of abundance. And if doubt tries to creep in, remember this. This ritual is not about perfection. It's about presence. It's about showing up with the full force of your belief, even when you're shaking, especially when you're shaking. So if you've done this, or you're about to, let me know in the comments. Say it boldly. "I have signed my contract," or share the limiting belief you released. These are not just comments, they're signals. And every signal strengthens the collective grid of receivers. This is not just about you getting rich. It's about reclaiming your place in a world that needs your light, funded, fueled, and fully expressed. The moment you declare, "I am ready to receive," a new kind of life begins. Not because your external world shifts overnight, but because your inner posture changes. After a profound soul journey, Sagittarius, your inheritance is not just wealth, it's identity. And this identity must be lived. The universe doesn't give us what we want, it responds to who we are. So this chapter is not about chasing anything, it's about embodying everything you've already become. Living as an heir to divine abundance begins in the smallest places: your mornings, your breath, the way you respond to silence. It starts with your internal rhythm. After years of running in survival mode, of overextending your optimism and overgiving your spirit, the most radical thing you can do now is slow down and recalibrate. Your nervous system needs spaciousness, not because you're fragile, but because you've carried too much for too long. Begin your days not by racing to fix or prove, but by anchoring. Before the outside world asks anything of you, ask yourself, what do I need to feel safe in this new expansion? Your body, which has held your stress, your hope, and your exhaustion, needs a new agreement. Cut back on stimulants that wire you for scarcity-driven urgency, excessive caffeine, endless news cycles, mindless scrolling loops. Feed yourself magnesium-rich foods, filtered water, and, above all, time to rest between actions. Let yoga, breathwork, and quiet contemplation replace the grind. You're not preparing for battle anymore. You're preparing to hold peace and joyous adventure. On the professional front, this is the season where Jupiter may elevate you through sudden invitations, an email, a phone call, a message that seems to come out of nowhere. These are not coincidences. They are karmic callbacks. So stay ready. Refresh your professional profiles, update your bio, and don't delay replying to opportunities. Don't talk yourself out of your worth because it arrived too easily. You paid for it in advance. When the money arrives, and it will, you must be a conscious steward, not just a surprised recipient. Create a wealth map. Decide in advance how your blessings will flow. Maybe 10% to giving back to causes you believe in, 30% to growing your wisdom and experiences like travel or education, 60% to grounding your new foundation. Whatever your formula is, make sure it reflects not who you were, but who you're becoming. Money is not just currency, it's responsibility. It will respond to your clarity or reflect your confusion. And then there's love, perhaps the most delicate territory of all. After years of emotional depletion, it's tempting to crave someone who simply fills the void. But that's not the relationship this new chapter calls for. This is the season to love not because you're afraid of being alone, but because you are already whole, and you choose to share the journey that flows from fullness. Love that flows from fullness won't trap you. It will elevate you and expand your world. You've stepped into a timeline of restoration, Sagittarius, and this new life must be lived differently than the one that perhaps tested your spirit. It doesn't demand perfection, but it does ask for presence. You are no longer the seeker, you are the receiver. And receivers walk differently. They breathe deeper, they move with intention, they trust more, and most of all, they live each day not asking how much longer, but whispering, "Thank you. I'm ready now." So let your lifestyle reflect your breakthrough. Let your rituals become routines. Let your choices tell the universe, I didn't just ask for the blessing. I've become the one who knows how to hold it. So here we are. You've walked with me through one of the most transformative messages you'll receive this year. Not just because of what was said, but because of how your soul responded. You didn't just listen. You felt it. You recognized yourself in every word. And that's what matters most. Because awareness is a door, and today you chose to open it. But now, the next step is yours. Are you going to close that door again? Scroll on and pretend the calling didn't stir something inside you? Or will you honor it with action, with presence, with courage? You don't have to do everything at once. You just have to live like someone who's already been claimed by the future they asked for. What would change if you woke up tomorrow and said, "This is the first day of my wealth era, and I will live like someone who is worthy of ease, of joy, of expansive experiences"? What if, instead of waiting for a sign, you became the one who sends signals to the universe through your faith, your routines, your gratitude, your decisions? You see, the millions aren't the cosmic treasure, you are. The money is just the echo of everything you've already become. It's the final piece of a puzzle you've been building with your insights, your late nights of searching, your discipline, your refusal to quit. But it can't enter unless you're open, not just emotionally, but energetically and practically. That's why I want you to write in the comments right now, "I'm ready to receive my financial inheritance 888. Declare it. Not for me, not for this video, but for the version of you who's been waiting too long to feel seen. And as you write it, take a breath and imagine the gates opening. Not next week, not next lifetime. Now, if you feel bold, share the exact number you're calling in. Write it, feel it, and release it into the current. Then find 3 other comments and bless them with a heart. Yes, seriously. You never know who you're spiritually agreeing with. Every like becomes part of a ripple, a loop of amplified manifestation that lifts not just you, but someone else who's quietly hoping, just like you. And if someone comes to mind as you're listening to this, a friend, a parent, someone you love, send this video to them. Don't hesitate, because unlocking your abundance sometimes means unlocking someone else's too. Let me say this from the depths of my spirit. Thank you. Thank you for being here, for giving your time, your heart, your energy. Every comment, every share, every subscription strengthens the frequency of this sacred community. You are not just a viewer, you are part of something unfolding, something ancient, divine, and entirely alive. That's what cosmic treasure means. And that's what you are now living. You have transcended the long journey. And now the light is not just returning, it's flooding in. So the only question left is, will you receive it? Go ahead. Tell me below what has this message awakened in you, because your answer might be the cosmic treasure someone else has been waiting for. Lessons learned for Sagittarius. 1. Embrace your expansive nature. Your innate optimism, love for freedom, and pursuit of truth are not just personality traits, but powerful energetic assets. Learn to trust your intuition and adventurous spirit as guides to abundance. 2. Discernment in expansion. While your spirit is boundless, learn to channel your energy wisely. Avoid scattering yourself too thin across too many ventures. Focus on opportunities that truly align with your higher purpose and values. 3. Value the journey, not just the destination. Every challenge, every constraint, every period of disillusionment wasn't a punishment, but a refinement. It prepared you to hold greater wisdom and wealth without losing your core identity. Recognize the cost paid as an investment in your growth. 4. Conscious receiving and stewardship. Abundance is not just about financial gain. It's about living in alignment with your highest self. Once received, consciously manage your wealth, a wealth map to reflect your values, supporting your own growth, travel, education, and philanthropic endeavors. Money becomes a tool for greater good and expansion. 5. Trust, divine timing, and your inner compass. The universe operates in cycles and patterns, and your breakthrough is perfectly timed. Learn to recognize the subtle energetic, physical, and symbolic cues like number sequences, tech glitches that signal alignment, and prepare for the opportunities ahead. Your readiness is key.